welcome to КьюАй, where we're having a veritable chimp's tea party with jam, jelly and juice. And joining me for my midnight feast, we have the jam-smothered Joe Brand, the jelly-slathered Liza Tarbuck, the juice-bedribbled Sue Perkins, and don't do that on the floor, please, Alan Davies. Well, it's a midnight feast, and just in case anyone sees matron coming, I've equipped my pals with buzzers. Joe goes. Liza goes. Sue goes. And Alan goes. It's my party time. Oh. And what? So begins with J and appears to be alive.
Is it me?
You begin with J and are most magnificently, radiantly alive.
He's on the turn.
Liza.
James Blunt.
Closer, I grant you. Yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh! You know what? This is something that appears to be alive and quite obviously isn't.
Jedward, then. I'm revising my...
So much work
Take care
to do.
Of me.
Yes, but in order to find out whether the brain is working, there's a machine that is used by doctors, an electroencephalograph, and you can tell whether a brain is alive by attaching it. And there is something that quite manifestly isn't alive, but if you attach that same machine to it, will give off the same signals as a brain.
Is it jelly?
Yes.
Fucking hell. I can't quite believe how intelligent I am sometimes.
No, no, it's...
How did I get that?
It was wonderful.
You're a genius. Is it any type of jelly, or is it...
Well, sort of large jelly in a mould on which you could fit the electrodes of an EEG.
Oh, that kind of jelly, right.
From its EEG results alone, it would not qualify as sufficiently dead to have its life support removed. That's the point. I know that seems insane. The reason it seems...
All the other jellies sitting around the bedside weeping.
Yes. He's still alive, he's still alive. You can't turn it off.
Comforting one another.
Yeah, yeah.
One outside having a fag.
One wobble for yes, two wobbles for no. Neurologist Adrian Upton examined the electroencephalography of gelatin desserts, as he put it, to make a serious point about brain death. Because what happens is the jelly picks up extraneous electrical signals in the room from sources like respirators, IV drips, even ringing telephones. The implication is that a brain apparently generating similar signals may in fact be quite dead. On the other hand, it may well be quite alive. It isn't enough to use an EEG to tell whether someone's alive, that's the point.
So jelly is always wobbling just a little bit.
It's always going to be wobbling a little bit. But it is rather extraordinary, isn't it? It's an amazing thought. At least I think it is.
Lovely thought.
It doesn't mean that EEGs are useless. They just have to be considered with other things to suggest whether or not someone is conscious or alive.
Is that an excitable jelly just there that's suddenly flatlined?
It's flatlined, yes. Anyway, there's probably enough jelly for the moment. There may be more, you never know. Jelly is made from boiled up pig skin. Name as many uses for a pig as you can.
Bacon.
Bacon is one.
Truffle snuffling.
Medicine stuff? Medicine cases for tablets and...
Oh, for women in pregnancy, doesn't it bring on for inducing pregnancy?
It does if
pig's
one
hormones.
runs through your front room.
You work like that.
Absolutely staggering what you can get out of a pig.
Yoghurt.
Yes, I have a list. Christian Mindersma wrote a book called Pig 05049, which is an anonymous pig, and beyond the obvious foodstuffs, she found different parts of this animal offered the following pork derivatives. From the skin alone, safety gloves, cosmetic surgery, collagen, comes from pigskin. Energy bars, which also have collagen in. Low-fat butter, chewing gum, X-ray film, drug capsules, bread, flour improver made from pig hair, would you believe? Flour, I know. The skin is also used for tattoo practice. And ballistic gelatin. That's just the skin. Then there's the internal organs, pet food. Tambourine skins are made from a pig's bladder. The old tambourine.
I knew those folkies were evil.
Yeah.
There are many thousands of people who are alive because of the pig's valve from their heart. From the bones, cheap wine corks, would you believe? Stabilising propellant in bullet making, inkjet paper, concrete, match heads, bone china, train brakes, yoghurt, which you correctly mentioned.
What's a train brake? Like
It's
where you
stopping
go to
a train.
Scotland for the
Yeah,
weekend?
for stopping it.
Just the legs, a piece of bacon, and a trotter out.
He just leans forward.
Fabric softener. Who knew? Beer, wine, ice cream. From the fat, biodiesel, soap, shampoos, crayons. From the blood, cigarette filters, amazingly. Toothpaste. And also paintbrushes. Chemical weapons testing. The ears are used in chemical weapons testing. Don't ask me why. I should hasten to add that not all toothpaste and not all yoghurt contain it. But if you are Muslim or Jewish, you've got a hell of a problem discovering what's got pig in it.
Have your work cut out.
You have your work cut out like a silhouettist.
What
Your work
is
cut out.
Arabica gum, then?
Gum Arabic.
Gum Arabic.
Isn't that a tree?
It's a resin from a tree.
Thank God, it's the only thing that's not piggy. that
Yeah,
come up
just
with.
basically is. From the acacia tree, in fact. I think.
Oh, OK.
Yeah. According to Bloomberg, there are 42 major areas of manufacturing that entirely rely on pork products. Which is quite astonishing what that one animal can do. And it's the only farmyard animal, if you discount truffle hunting, that is only useful when dead. There's no
Oh, you
use.
say that. You've never gambled with a pig.
Oh,
Come on. You're terrible gamblers. Poker, blackjack.
But obviously ducks and geese and
Yeah.
hens lay eggs and goats give milk and cows give milk and sheep
Companionship?
give companionship.
Love,
I know they
warm.
do offer those. It is
My
true.
brother's got a pig, and that's very true of that one.
Yeah, they are very endearing animals. Of
Tell him
course,
to be careful, though, because I knew a farmer that had a heart attack while he was feeding his pigs, and they ate him.
oh, yes, well, I'm afraid.
Don't want to get into a pen with one that's approaching sexual maturity, as I know to my cost.
Really?
Yeah. It's basically like
How
a
are the piglets?
They've got names, Alan. So, yeah, it's
Porky and
like...
Perkins.
Indian Perkins.
Yeah, it's scary. It's like a pork piano, because they breed pigs very long now, because everyone likes chops.
That's right.
So you get incredibly long
With a
pigs.
huge row of udders you
Yes.
can see on the sow, can't you?
And, yeah, just runs at you in a sort of matey way.
This was obviously the bull,
Yes,
the male.
she wasn't interested.
No, she
Although I
wasn't.
was trying to catch her eye.
The lovely thought. Anyway, there you are. From jelly to jam. What's speech jam?
Is speech jam that sort of white crust that John McCririck gets? When I actually made myself feel sick.
We can test out speech jam.
Is it like a symptom of a psychiatric
No, it's not
condition?
exactly that. It's a problem that occurs to our ability to speak.
You can
like
jam.
that. It stops you from being able to speak properly. It's when you hear... That is a very good example of what might cause speech. If you hear your own voice back while you speak, not in real time, but only a fifth of a second afterwards, it's almost impossible to read out. And we're going to do a test. If you don't mind, Alan, you can be our guinea pig, all right? Okay. You should see some earphones.
Is that why
there.
these are here?
Those are the earphones. Now, some Japanese people built a handheld device with a directional mic and speaker, which works as a speech jamming gun. We've made our own one up, but I'm going to give you something to read, and as it's about jams, this is Mrs. Beaton's Everyday Cookery, the classic work, and it's her chapter on marmalade and jams. All you have to do is start to read in a normal voice, and then, at some point, we will engage. All we'll do is have your own voice repeated back at you a fifth of a second afterwards. All right. So, start reading in a normal, clear voice about marmalade and jams, OK?
Marmalades and jams differ little from each other. They are preserves of half-liquid consistency
I'm
made
gonna
by
squeeze
boiling
the
the pulp
trigger
of fruits
now.
and sometimes part of the rinds with sugar. The term marmalade is applied to those confitures which are composed of the firmer fruits, as pineapples or the rinds of oranges, whereas jams are made of the more juicy berries, such as strawberries, raspberries, mulberries, etc. Jams require the same care and attention in the boiling as marmalade. The slightest degree of burning communicates a disagreeable into the matter taste. And if they're not more lovely, they will not.
Stop! You can stop that, well done. Do you think Alan's a genius and it doesn't work on him? Should we try it on Joe, then? I have to say, did you hear your voice back?
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, did you? All right, we'll try it with you, Joe. I'm going to just start with it on, frankly, and just read.
Having secured the most important
Thank God it works for you.
I've got schizophrenia now.
You're in charge. Honestly, I'm absolutely staggered because I tried it this afternoon and I found it impossible. I kept trying to hurry up and speak faster to somehow try and beat it.
I think it's because I hate cookery.
Whoa, hello. Something over.
What's that resting on, Steve?
Whoa! So if you just start to read normally and then I'll engage. So read... Phew.
The fruits most fit for preservation in syrup are apricots, peaches, nectarines, apples, greengages, plums of all kinds and pears. As an example, take some apricots, not too ripe, make a small slit up its bottom and sew a hole on the end of a butt plug. Utterly dried, they should be stored in airtight tins and given to really mean people.
You made that up.
It's all there, Mrs. Beaton. Dirty old thing.
I'm confused. Well, do you want to swap places? You have a go?
Yeah, I want to.
You swap places, you have a go.
I want to read what happens to Mrs.
But if you
Beaton
could,
in the butt plug.
honestly, it's very amusing to read about the butt plug, but...
OK, with you now.
You've got it, marmalade?
Yep.
OK, go.
Marmalades and jams differ little from each other. They are preserves of half-liquid consistency made by boiling the pulp of fruits and sometimes part of the rinds with sugar. The term marmalade is applied to those confitures which are composed of... or pineapple. I sound drunk now. Those jams are made of more juicy berries, such as strawberries, raspberries, currants, mulberries, etc. Oh, my head. Where's everyone gone?
It's very interesting experiment. Quite extraordinary, Alan. You didn't seem to stop in your stride at all. It did affect you quite noticeably.
Yeah, but does that mean he's really intelligent?
I don't know.
'Cause I think
have
it might be the other way round.
It is very unusual. What it oddly and counterintuitively also used for is to help cure people with stammers, oddly enough. But you were having your voice back delayed, didn't you?
I think because if you work as an actor, you do have to remember to say things when really odd things are happening around
maybe
you.
that is partly it, yeah.
I think that's right, actually. That's why I could do it, because of radio.
Well, that could be it. Yes.
It makes you feel sick, actually.
Yeah,
It is, it's a horrible
knocks you a
feeling.
bit.
Yeah, it does knock you.
And there used to be an act called verbal shadowing in which people would basically shadow what someone said, which children, as you can do while I'm doing it now. Everything I say, you're repeating it just a second after I'm saying it. You can do that as well, can't you? While I'm speaking, you can follow what I'm saying and predict exactly what it is
you're going to say.
Yeah,
Give out
exactly.
it's really like the Lord's Prayer at primary school.
Anyway, it's quite interesting, and I was very impressed, and I thought you'd be all over the shop, and you were the clearest of us all.
Well.
Now, OK, so, from jam to juice. I've got jumbo wrists, and I'm covered in tit juice. What have I been up to?
You've changed.
Is it a night out with Tarbuck and Perkins?
Jumbo wrists and covered in tit juice.
Sound like a milkmaid.
Do you mean tit juice as in bosoms or as in a bird?
Nor indeed neither. It's an occupational hazard. Fishing. It is a fisherman's occupational hazard. There is a boat, the fishing boat.
There's
yes.
Lara, covered in tit juice.
Yeah. Well, you get jumbo
Slathered.
wrist simply from repetitive strain injury from gutting fish. But tit juice conjunctivitis, to give its proper name, is the acute swelling of the eyes caused by the juice of tits, which is sometimes called duffs, but tits is the most common name for them, which are described in the ship captain's medical guide as marine growths that look like suet dumplings with finger-like growths protruding from them. When they get caught in fishing nets, they explode, releasing millions of tiny silicon needles which go into the fisherman's eyes.
God.
So that's what causes the swelling.
Is this sort of stuff just generally in sort of lakes and rivers and oceans and we haven't
Well,
seen it?
if you work every day amongst fish, there's all kinds of stuff on there aside from the fish you're trying to catch. For example, there's a thing called Dogger Bank itch.
I'm guilty as charged. You too?
You've got Dogger Bank.
All I said was...
Yeah.
You can also get haddock rash.
Why are you looking at me?
That's an inflammation between the fingers from gutting white
I do
fish.
often take a fish to bed with me and then I can say to my husband, not tonight, dear, I've got a haddock.
That's very good.
That sounds like, actually, when you've just given birth as well. Because all those fittings, you do have swollen
Oh,
bits
yes. A lot of people, a lot of women, when they give birth, can't take their wedding ring off ever again, can they?
No, and they're pissed off about it.
So tit juice conjunctivitis, jumbo wrist and Dogger Bank itch are occupational hazards of fishermen. What was unique about Fanny Farmer's cup size?
Is that Fanny Farmer in the Grant Woods? Is it Grant?
Well, that is the Grant Woods famous picture, American
Farmer's
Gothic.
cup
That
size.
isn't Fanny Farmer, it's just, in fact, that woman doesn't appear to have a cup size at all. But it's called American Gothic, it's a very famous painting, it's not really the point of our question. They're farmers, that's the point. But Fanny Farmer was actually
Sounds
her
like a
name.
Viz character.
Her name, it does, doesn't it? It does.
My great-grandmother was called Fanny Binks.
Fanny Binks.
Fanny Binks.
Mine was
Binks.
Fanny Carfoot.
Fanny Carfoot.
Yeah, Fanny Carfoot and Fanny Tarbuck. Two Fannies.
Pair of Fanny.
A right pair of Fannies.
Is it because Fanny's cup size, one boob is bigger than the other?
No, it's not that, and it's nothing to do with fanny farming being an occupation.
Fanny farming?
It's another
We need to
website.
start a campaign now. We need to have a march. We need to
Fanny farming next door to a
Stop
mink farm.
Fanny
It's a
farming.
nightmare.
This was a person whose name was Fanny Farmer, and she
Was
could
it
be
cup size as in bra or as
No.
in size
Measurements.
of cup that she
size of
drank
cup
from?
that she not drank from.
Measuring
no.
cup?
Cooking.
Measuring cup. She's the mother of the measuring cup.
Oh, get out.
Before Fanny Farmer, cookery books were really hopeless. They'd just say, add a jug of milk, and then nobody knew how much a jug was. They'd do, add a bit of this and a bit of that, or half a bit of that and half a bit of this. As you probably know if you've ever used an American cookbook.
Bish bosh.
Exactly. As you probably know,
Here's Percy Pepper.
in Europe, we use weights, which is really dull and stupid. Everything's going to be weighed. In America, they're much more sensible. They use quantity, so it's cups. So you literally get it doesn't matter because as long as the proportion's right. So half a cup of rice, pour in half a cup of rice, 2 cups of water, 2 cups of water. It doesn't matter how big the cup is. The proportion is what matters.
Yeah.
And she devised a system whereby 1 jug is 16 cups and exactly how much a teaspoon is. And the one thing insisted on, so that it could all be made easy, is it's all level. So a cup of sugar is a level cup of sugar like that, not heaped. So that you can't go wrong. She made the first kind of error-free cookbooks that everyone could follow.
They're awful, those early cookbooks. I've looked at some.
Oh, the ones
Form
before
of
her.
curry and curry or whatever it is, which is the rich. the
Eliza
second
Acton
one.
and people like that, yes.
It's take a goodly pinch of this and a.
That's precisely what annoyed her, the goodly pinch.
Goodly
a
pinch.
goodly pinch.
It's a lovely phrase, but it is not very helpful.
It's a lovely experience.
It is.
Isn't it great, though, that she's just got fed up?
Yeah.
And she's just
And
devised...
Mrs. Beeton, whose book you read out of, She died only 4 years after her book came out. How
Oh,
old
she was 29.
Yeah, she was very
28, in fact. even.
28.
So she wrote it when she was 24. Huge success, the most successful book of its time. Her husband went on to be very successful.
24, you imagine her to be matronly and
Yeah.
hugely
Yes, I know,
experienced.
because of the missus somehow. Now, her husband, he had a magazine called Beaton's Christmas Annual. In 1887, it published a story. I wonder if you could name it.
Is it a
Dickens?
Dickens
1887 wasn't Dickens, no, it was the very first story featuring a man called Sherlock Holmes. Oh! Study in Scarlet. And that was after, sadly, Mrs. Beaton had died.
What did Mrs. Beaton die of? Was it... what
There's a suggestion, a rumour that it was syphilis, but that sounds most unfortunate, and we don't like to think of such a thing. Of such
Historical
a rumour.
death, if in doubt.
If in death, Isabella Beaton. Anyway, describe Marie Antoinette's breast cups.
Oh, yes. I know the answer to this because I've seen one. They, not her bosoms, but they modelled various plates and cups and things
Yes.
on boobs.
Yes.
I hate the word breasts.
I do too.
Let's just say jugs,
Bosoms.
tits,
I like
norks.
titties.
Do you? You heard it here first.
No, I mean, as a word, titties.
I like it.
I like it.
It's official.
Yeah.
In the morning,
All day long.
a lovely bunch
But
of
they're becoming
titties.
rather old-fashioned. Titties. I like titties.
There was one had a little nipple as well.
They
so
were,
you-
you're
yeah,
absolutely
you
right.
go.
It was during that phase she had, which was started by Madame la Pompadour, which was of pretending to be a peasant. She lived in the most sophisticated, glittering palace in the world, in Versailles, but she liked to pretend to be a milkmaid. She had gold churns hanging off and things like that. This was considered to be
It's
incredibly...
a massive cow.
That's... Yes, it's a
the
biggie.
size of it.
Or a very small little girl. I did one or the other. Anyway, the great porcelain works of Sèvres in France made for her, at the command of King Louis XVI, these extraordinary cups, which were like breasts. There you can see the nipple, out of which she would drink milk. That's the kind you're talking about.
Yes,
you've seen.
exactly, yeah.
They're on display in Petit Trianon, which was her little sort of farmyard, her play farmyard. And you can buy replicas if you wish to have one in your own house. I'm sure...
I do.
I want two.
Then you know where to go.
I want a pair.
Yes, you should have a pair,
Yeah,
to
you
be
should
honest.
have a pair.
A matching pair, ideally.
No one wants to drink and have a lone boob.
There is a bra makers who say that they can tell what size you are just by looking at you, which I think is quite impressive. So I had to go along and find out, and they usher you into a room and get you to take everything off. And this woman looked at me and went, not quite as bad as I'd expected.
What a nerve.
I have the same thing. You know, you go down and you have to gird yourself up for these things. You're showing your titties off. And this woman's just come in with 3 people that she's training, gone like that with the curtain, looked at me and gone, can't help you. Shut up.
Shocking.
Yeah, it really was shocking.
I'll make you a bra, but I can't help it.
We don't get this problem from our underpanters, do we?
Certainly do not.
Mr. Klein will hand over his pants to you without any opprobrious comments. How extraordinary. Things you girls go through. It's been...
There are those titties again.
Like that awful joke of the man who goes to the doctor and says, I'm obsessed with breasts, I can't do anything about it, I'm just obsessed with them. The doctor says, well, I'll do a word association test to see how bad this is. He says, newspapers. He goes, breast. He said, why? He said, well, I take the Sun, page 3, it's just breast. Oh, yes, OK. Fair enough. Tennis rackets. Oh, breast. I said, why? He said, Wimbledon, all those tennis players, breast. He said, moving, they're playing all the time. Oh, God, OK. Windscreen wipers. Breast. What? How can you say that from windscreen wipers?
Tonight's the night you turn.
What's the other myth about Marie Antoinette's breasts that has persisted to this day? Do you know about to do with
They
another
lived
drink?
on after her death.
Champagne comes in either a flute or tulip glass, or in a
nipple kind of...
a coupe. It's called a coupe, yes.
one.
And there was this idea that the coupe was based on the size and shape of Marie Antoinette's breasts. But the standard coupe, it appears, would make her a 36B, and paintings show that she was likely to be a little bigger than that.
I love it that someone's done that research.
Yes.
You know those fantastic, massive china cooking bowls that sort of have a lip on the edge of them?
Oh,
that
yes.
You do mix that. They're based on my titties.
You know, an ironing board. They're based on mine.
Oh, stop. No. You've all
I'm
got
saying nothing.
lovely. All got
I've seen St Paul's.
Wouldn't it be dull if every street had exactly the same frontage everywhere? And wouldn't it be dull if all girls had the same frontage?
Yeah.
Quite, exactly. We've all got lovely frontages. Now, so milk and the fad for dairy was very popular amongst French nobles right up until the point when the guillotine cured all their problems permanently. So what's the smallest thing that you can milk?
Ooh. Well, it's got to be a mammal, hasn't it? Because only mammals produce milk.
Well, that's not strictly true.
An insect.
It's an insect, yes. It's an
a
insect that
cockroach?
ruins the lives of thousands.
Mosquito.
Not quite as bad as a mosquito, which ruins the lives of
Wasp.
millions. Tsetse fly is the right answer.
Flutter.
The tsetse fly is unique in being a terrible... They're very ugly and unpleasant. And believe me, if you've been bitten by one, it is horrible. It's a disgustingly painful...
Have you been bitten
yes,
by one?
Very painful. In Kenya somewhere. It was really, really unpleasant. Well, I did not get sleeping sickness, fortunately, which is, kills, about 48,000 people a year. But this is unique. The female fly keeps her eggs and larvae inside her uterus, where she makes a liquid rich in fats called intrauterine milk. She eventually gives birth to one larva at a time, so it's genuinely suckled by its mother.
So it's sucking from like a milk sack.
Yes, this intrauterine milk. Extraordinary, isn't it? But otherwise, it's a vicious creature and much unwanted. They're also host to a symbiotic bacterium called Wigglesworthia, named after someone called, of course, Jones. No, Wigglesworth, who was an expert on kissing bugs, which are blood-sucking insects that kiss you around the mouth and lips, very unpleasant.
I've had a few of them.
They bite humans on the face and lips, and as they feed, they also defecate, annoyingly. And as they defecate, the parasite inside their feces
I've been out with
causes...
blokes
I
like
don't know why
that.
you're looking at me.
Not you.
causes something called Chagas disease, which is extremely unpleasant. Anyway,
Chagas?
Not Chagas. It makes you take your clothes off on Channel 5. No, it's not. It's Chagas, not Chagas. But the Wigglesworthia is interesting because it has the smallest genome of any known living thing. So it's very important in genetics to discover it as an organism, to see what the absolute minimum genome necessary is for life.
We've got some quite small gnomes in our garden as well.
No genome... no.
You've got the fishing genome. Crossing the bridge genome.
The G is silent.
The IT genome.
But what's interesting, and it might save hundreds of thousands of African lives, is that without that particular Wigglesworthia, female tsetse flies are sterile. So we could eradicate them as a problem in Africa, which would be a good thing. So anyway, that's the tsetse fly. It's only a centimetre long, not even a mammal, but it gives birth to live young, which it feeds on milk. It's party treat time now. Isn't this exciting? I've got something really interesting for you to try. It's powdered miracle berry. Now, you should have a little cup like this. So if you can instantly put that pill, as it were, that's in your cup, in your mouth, I promise you it's not going to hurt you.
We don't even question.
Don't swallow it.
Just do it. Yes, Steve.
Don't swallow it. Please do it. Don't swallow it.
Show me your
Don't swallow
titties.
it. Roll it
We've
around.
been down
It's
this road
sweet. It's from a
before,
fruit.
mister.
Only
Fruit,
bite
fruit.
it when you see the whites of the eyes.
Don't bite it. Don't bite it. Just really roll it around your mouth. Roll it around your tongue. It's quite sweet. It takes a little time for it to work, but when it does work, it's rather extraordinary.
It's like a dead refresher. Do you
Yeah,
know
it
what
is
I mean?
exactly.
My
Like,
head's
it's
just gonna
exactly what
work
it's
like
like. But just to try and do a bit of action on it, just so that you can get it to dissolve, spread it all over your tongue. It is quite miraculous. It's why it's called the miracle fruit. It's rather
Right, I've
exciting.
slightly crunched mine.
Oh well, don't worry. Don't swallow. Don't swallow. Just keep.
Why
keep
not?
Keep it in your mouth. There's a good reason. I want for it to cover all of your tongue because it does something extraordinary to your tongue, and that's what you're going to discover. So keep sucking. Keep sucking.
I must remember this speech.
Yeah. to swallow.
It does something extraordinary to your tongue. Don't swallow it.
So do you feel you've more or less coated yourself in it?
Yeah.
What it does is it actually gets rid of your tongue's ability to detect sour and bitter. So I want you to just take a bite on this lemon. You'll find, when you bite on the lemon, that it's not exactly sweet, but that it really has taken away 90% of its sourness.
I'm going in.
Isn't it? Your whole pill.
I've done a lot of coating.
That's delicious.
Isn't it? It's extraordinary, isn't it?
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
None of you has
really
pulled the kind of...
lovely.
Ah,
That is like a really sweet orange.
exactly. It's
I'm going to
bizarre.
regret it later.
It is a most extraordinary experience.
I love that.
And that will last. That will last for about half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour.
I'm going to have chronic
You'll be able to have
gastritis in 20
lime,
minutes.
bitter. And it was very popular, this miracle fruit. They used to have parties where they'd have this kind of rainbow of different flavours that would occur because it takes away your ability to taste the bitter or the sour, or indeed the salt. So everything becomes sweet, but it retains a little of its own flavour. But it does work,
Amazing.
doesn't it? It is, absolutely.
Although it is vitamin C, so internally I'm rebelling.
Just for the very fact that it might even be slightly healthy.
Absolutely. No, a friend of mine used to go and feed the horse at the bottom of his garden when he was a kid bits of lemon because it used to make brilliant faces.
That's just naughty.
It is cruel.
That's very naughty.
Very
I'm
entertaining.
going to save one in my pockets. I'm going to have one later. I'm going to give one to a friend.
Yeah.
Taste so much nicer.
It's just...
We've witnessed
that in
something
your
big
mouth.
tonight.
Yeah.
It's all over.
It will taste lovely for half an hour.
My favourite word is
It's not sour anymore, is it? Not sour anymore.
right. It's all round the mouth.
You people. Honestly, honestly.
Your tongue.
You're so naughty tonight. I'm really very, very disappointed. I thought the girls would be well behaved, but I'm just so wrong.
You just put it in your mouth.
You just put it in our mouths.
That's what girls are so good at. The innocent, wide-eyed... Anyway, miracle berries have the miraculous property of making sour things taste sweet. So, now, which international institution had one man and his dog as members?
That was it?
Members. No, they had lots and lots of other members.
But they weren't men, presumably.
All the others were women and human.
The WI.
Yes, the WI.
And Lassie.
The WI wasn't that particular man, by this. This is an example, in case you're incredibly
No, 'cause
stupid,
if you're
of what
only
a man and a
allowed
dog
one
look
man.
like. Because you might not know.
He's
Very
literally
poor
blowing
picture of a
smoke up its arse.
The bloody dog moved. Well, we'll have to use it. We're out of film.
When the WI was formed, the nascent WI, this particular man, Colonel Richard Stapleton Cotton, was an enormous fan, a great admirer, and so
Popped a frock on.
he and his dog Tinker were both members and paid their annual fees. But they were the only males ever to be members. Guess which country the WI was started in? Canada. Yes!
Oh,
Good
bloody
God,
hell,
how'd you
well
do
done.
that?
I'm on a roll. I don't know. I just
He's
know
on a
WI
roll.
stuff. I don't know.
Canada, he said, in case started in Canada. Absolutely right. It was the Women's Department of the Farmers Institute of South Wentworth, with the aim to promote that knowledge of household science which will lead to improvement in household architecture, with special attention to home sanitation. But then, of course, it broadened its horizons. It was said that the WI should be grave and gay, which is nice.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
And should explore the world together and learn as much about growing roses in your garden or trimming hats as about darkest Africa or Bolshevism. So, which is why they're also famous for having lecturers coming to address them. They absorb knowledge, and they do extraordinary amount of charity work, of course. They donate 24 million hours of their time to community work every year in the UK. And, of course, there's a double J association with the WI, it's our letter J. It's a sort of nickname for
Jam
it.
and Jerusalem.
Jam and Jerusalem. Jerusalem is their anthem, and jam making is what people think they do. But obviously their remit is wider, and they were very patriotic during the war, did all kinds of things, especially with rabbits. Turning bunnies into bombs was their slogan, as they tried to breed rabbits for food.
That picture that we saw earlier, I wish I'd been born in that time.
You like those dowdy hats?
I like those. I wouldn't have had to make any effort whatsoever. It looks great.
But everybody spoke like that. Didn't they? Everybody talked like that all the time.
Look at those berets, amazing. They don't look very cheerful. And one of them's knitting, which is...
One-handed, which is really...
And there's Arthur Askey on the
They're
end.
voting. They're voting. Shall we allow the Colonel and his dog to become members? And they're all
Yes, go
voting
on.
yes.
Is it
Who's
a
been
vote?
felt at by the Colonel?
I
Dirty little bugger. And that dog always sniffing around.
Oh, dear. Anyway, Colonel Stapleton Cotton was his name, and his dog Tinker. They're the only two non-females ever to be admitted to the Women's Institute. Can you name a matriarchal society? Yes.
There's a very small matriarchal society in my house.
Your family. Yes. Well, there are all kinds of claims that have been made, but
The
most
Amazons.
anthropologists would say is that none. In
No.
all societies, ultimately men have the power. There are certainly matrilineal societies, like Jewish societies, and I'm Jewish because my mother's Jewish, but although my father isn't, so that your identity goes down your mother's line. But essentially, men have the political power in all societies. No one has ever really named one. The closest you could get them, the Massur people, also known as the Na, on the China-Tibet border, they don't practice marriage at all.
What they want to do is they want to put their necklaces on before they put the hat.
Well spotted.
Yeah.
Terrible error.
I thought this was only in carrying up the Khyber, but there is a tribe of northeast India called the Qazi, and it really is. Again, fathers have no rights or responsibilities within their families, but they do have the political power. That's the
So
issue.
is that all? Is
Well,
having political
yes,
power absolutely
Archy
the...
is about power. Archos
Yeah.
is Greek. Monarchy is a single power. An oligarch, it means the power belonging to a few, and so on. So, but it seems that no anthropologist would argue that there is any truly matriarchal society.
Yeah, the Spice Girls did such great work on that
They
front.
did,
It
they did.
took off as a movement, though,
Yeah.
did it?
But we like power to be shared. We wouldn't like power to be in the hands of either one
Well, we'd
sex
like
or...
power
Yes,
to be
so would we.
shared.
Yes, I agree. I'm saying we.
You can be our leader as long as you confess again that you like titties.
I do. I love titties.
Titty arc.
I love titties.
The man's a titty arc.
From jam in Jerusalem to simply jam now. I can never get enough jam. So let's test our taste buds with a selection of preserves. What's the main ingredient of fish jam?
I sense a trap.
Walk into it.
Fish jam is a nickname given by British soldiers to something they really didn't like.
Trench foot or...
No, the clue is it was in the Crimean War. It was given to them as food in the Crimean War, the British Army, and they didn't like it. They
Oh, like
spread it
fish
on-
paste.
Caviar.
Caviar is the right answer. They didn't like it at all.
Well, they didn't put it on blinis with sour cream.
Exactly.
It's just got a bit of
So
a...
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's fish jam. What's the main ingredient of bacon jam?
Oh, this is...
Once again.
This will be the only thing that doesn't have pig in it.
Well, it's a new preserve. It's made with smoked bacon, red onion, coffee, balsamic vinegar, garlic, spice, and whiskey. By a
Ooh,
grocer
leftovers,
in
as they're
Walthamstow. Yes, he said, we've always sold homemade jam and crispy bacon, so we thought we'd put the two together. So what about then Hitler bacon? What's the main ingredient of Hitler bacon?
Goebbels. 30% Goebbels, 7% sugar. Hitler?
Hitler's Solona is the Hungarian for it. It was, during the war in Hungary, it was a sort of mixed fruit thing, solid in brick-shaped blocks, and you could carve a slice. And the derogatory term Hitler ham came from the idea, correct idea really, that the occupied and allied countries of the Axis powers of Germany were getting the crap food while the good food stayed in Germany. So it was a sort of derogatory term. Anyway, I've got something interesting to show you now, so I wanted you to tell me what it is, quite simply. What's the name for one of them?
Well,
Yes,
it's a Toby
yes.
jug, isn't it?
No, this is known as a character jug.
Oh.
If you want to know what a Toby jug looks like, it's that.
Wow.
Toby
Isn't
jug,
that
the
pretty?
whole person.
The whole
Yes. If it's a head, it's called a character jug. But I've got something more interesting, I think, which I hope you're going to like. It's got water in it. All you have to do is drink the water without spilling it. It's got holes in it, so if you lift it to... Right. It's got holes in it, so that's not going to work. Do you see? No. So you've got to try and
Right, I'm
work
going
it
to hollow out
out.
this biro.
All
Use
right.
it as a straw.
Like that.
I'm evolving.
Ah, you're getting that. You're getting that. So what are you doing? But no, don't pour it, because the water will come up. Look at the handle. The handle is connected to the bottom, so if you could suck one of those tubes, cover the holes.
The other hole.
And then suck through there. But there's a secret hole you've got to cover too.
Get those two.
Look under... No, look under the handle. Look under the top of the handle.
Oh,
It's like a food stop. If you cover that and the other two holes, then you can...
Bit of a palaver.
There, yes.
Could they not just...
Just an electrical hazard.
So like this.
Someone well just
Now, that's it. Now you can suck it. It's pure, just don't tip it.
I'll call it.
So you Well, Liza hadn't got there first. You got the principle straight away.
It's like evolution,
Now I have to do
basically.
it. I'll never go.
Yeah.
Could we
still
just have some
primordial
sandwiches?
got every hole covered.
No, you haven't. Don't drink from the top. You have to suck from... Look.
Suck from there.
Show her.
I'm sucking from there, right?
You're right.
So I'm sucking
keep.
from there, and I'm holding there.
And have you found
Yes.
the other hole?
Now suck
No,
it.
don't tip it! Suck without tipping. It's a hollow
wet,
handle.
darling.
The point is, the handle is hollow.
wet
So if you
T-shirt.
had it in
Liquor
here-
what?
What you're doing, I'll try and show the
Arsenal for
Here it
people
is.
how to drink and
Here
not
it
to
is.
spill. Will try the utmost of your skill.
Skill. And this one says, to drink and not to spill, will try the utmost of your skill. Exactly. That's what it seems to say.
Mine
So-
says you're an idiot, Perkins.
So this is a hollow. This is hollow. There's water in the bottom. It's got a little stop, like a flute or a recorder here. So you've got to cover that up, and it's got a hole here and a hole here. And if I do that, I can now just simply suck. But it's a little puzzle, John. We thought you might have a little bit of fun with it. Which brings us to the sticky end of the scores. And my word, well, I've never seen anything like it in all my born puff. In last place with a magisterial, she did start with 2 -10s in a row, so she didn't do that badly after, but she ended with -22, Sue Perkins. And a highly creditable -5, Liza Tarbuck.
Thank you very much. Thank
Well. Which one? One of you got 4 points. 4 whole points. 4 plus points. It's a big
Please,
score
for
on
the
КьюАй.
feminists, let it
It's
be a
Joe
lady.
Brand.
Oh, she is!
Can only bring us to the astonishing news that tonight's winner, with +11, is Alan Davies.
In women on television has failed.
Well, we can call him a jammy bugger. And that's all from Liza, Sue,
We'll have a jammy
Joe,
bugger.
Alan and me. Good night.
And КьюАй is back on Friday at 10 o'clock. Next on BBC Two, get ready to attend a really interesting seminar out in the countryside with the thick of it, while later the Clintons returns amidst the Whitewater scandal and conflict in Rwanda at 10:25.